Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Claire Knight. I'm originally from the UK and I've been teaching ESL for over 25 years now. Most of that time has been spent here in Japan teaching with Nova. Nova is one of the biggest language school chains in Japan, with over 300 schools all over the country, from Hokkaido in the snowy north all the way down to Okinawa in the tropical south. Me personally, I have lived in 9 cities during my time here, and I would thoroughly recommend any one of them to those of you thinking about making the trip out here, especially Hirosaki in Aomori Prefecture for the cherry blossoms and the wonderful people. Anyway, back to Nova. We have currently over 850 instructors teaching here in Japan, teaching over 115,000 lessons per month to over 85,000 students. We teach students of all ages and from all walks of life, both one-on-one and in small groups of up to 5 students for adult group lessons and up to 8 students for younger learner group lessons and online group lessons. Our teaching approach or our teaching method is based on the communicative approach, which many of you may be familiar with or at least have heard of. The communicative approach is a method of language teaching based on the principle that students develop their language proficiency through using language to communicate meaningfully rather than from reading and listening. It focuses on the functional use of language to develop confidence in communicating effectively in real life situations. This approach is particularly well suited to Japanese adult learners who tend to come to us with a strong passive knowledge of English, but very, very, very little experience using English, speaking English, communicating in English. The communicative approach is a tried and tested one, both within Nova and way beyond the scope of Nova. Over the years, we have continued to improve and refine our own curriculum and use of the approach, while at the same time keeping our methods and lesson materials in line with that communicative approach. So, with communication such a central focus, it shouldn't be too difficult to maximize student participation, should it? Especially since, as I think I mentioned earlier, Nova is a private language school network, and therefore our students are paying customers, investing their own time and money into improving their language proficiency. Surely it should be enough just to tell them to speak as much as possible, right? Well, not exactly. Knowing that something is good for you is not always enough, is it? In this short webinar, I'd like to give you a snapshot of a small group adult lesson to see how the basic principles of the communicative approach are applied in the Nova classroom and how the lessons are structured and taught to encourage maximum student participation. At the end, I will loop back and review the key factors that really make a difference to participation rates. Hopefully, there will be something for something of value or interest for everyone, and some of you will be inspired to apply for the chance to come to Japan and teach with Nova yourselves. I, for one, cannot recommend the experience highly enough. Okay, firstly, I would like to talk about setting up the right learning environment. This is the atmosphere I want to create in my classroom every single time. One, everyone is equal. Number two, mistakes are okay. And three, this lesson is not about what I want you to say, it's about what you want to say. If I can create this atmosphere, I know I can maximize student participation. So, how is it done? Let me go back for a second to those first 2 points. Everyone is equal. Mistakes are okay. The setup of the physical learning environment plays a big role in eliminating or minimizing challenges to participation, such as cultural and social barriers, fear of being judged, low confidence, and so on. As you can see in this picture, Nova classrooms do not Nova schools do not look like traditional schools, and Nova classrooms do not look like traditional classrooms. They are typically bright, stylish, and kind of intimate. Also, for the instructor, rather than standing at the whiteboard, the Nova instructor sits at the table with the students, usually at the head of the table, at one end of the table, or in the captain's chair at the center. Being part of the group helps make interaction less intimidating, both instructor to student interaction and student to student interaction. And it also makes it much easier for us to monitor student interaction, manage pair work and small group work, and to discreetly give support as needed. One further way to establish and reinforce that everyone is equal in a Nova classroom is the use of first names for both for ourselves and for our students. Okay, so we have the right learning environment. Now let's start to look at what actually happens in a lesson. We start each 40-minute lesson with a friendly greeting, and then we introduce something simple and focused to get the students into English mode and primed for the topic of the lesson. To maximize participation and limit any anxiety about answering, we keep the language difficulty level nice and low. Let me show you an example from a beginner lesson. Note that not only do I address my students by their first names, I use their names frequently so that there is no ambiguity about who I would like to speak. This also plays a role in maximizing student participation. There's no need to second guess or worry about who should go first or who should speak next. Okay, so imagine I have finished the greetings part of the icebreaker. Right, everybody, are you hungry? Me too. Let's make a menu. Menu. What shall we put on our menu? For example, chicken wings. Okay? Okay. Rena, what would you like to put on the menu? Pasta? Sounds good. Okay, pasta. Okay, who's next? Yorie, would you like to put on the menu? Noodles, great. They're my favorite. Good job. Okay, who's next? Chica, would you like to put on the menu? Steak. Ooh, do you like steak? Me too. Steak. Okay, and Odai, what would you like to put on the menu? Fish. Great, nice. Well done. And Wataru, what would you like to put on the menu? Pizza. Okay, nice choice. Well done, everybody. Okay, I'll time out there. So, how did I encourage participation? Well, I kept the task nice and simple. I used visual aids, very simple visual aids. I gave an example. I checked understanding. I used names and gestures, and I gave a lot of praise or positive reinforcement. I also, rather than I did not try to put words into their mouths for them, I let them bring their own ideas to the table. There are opportunities throughout every lesson to get input from the students that we can fold into subsequent activities to customize the lesson and help the students feel connected to the lesson. This is all part of what I mean by this lesson is not about what I want you to say, it's all about what you want to say. Okay, so once the icebreaker is done and the textbooks are opened and the lesson focus, in this case, ordering in a restaurant using I'd like, is confirmed. Then we look at a picture and we set a simple task and ask some guided questions. For example, Rena, what can you see? Wataru, where is this? Odai, who is she? Yorie, what's she doing? Through this process, the students describe, discuss, or speculate using the English they already know rather than the English that they are about to learn. Here too, keeping instructions simple, keeping the language difficulty of questions nice and low, all helps to maximize participation. As does keeping the tone nice and light, accepting any answers, and avoiding heavy correction. Okay, next, the key sentence or sentences are practiced with a strong focus on repeating after the instructor, replicating the instructor's natural pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. After a lot of listen and repeat, mechanical exercises in the form of drilling are used to focus on building student ability to correctly form the sentences. For example, okay, everybody, let's practice. I say roast chicken. You say, I'd like the roast chicken, please. I say green salad. You say, I'd like the green salad, please. Okay? Everybody okay? Okay, Rena, roast chicken. Excellent. Okay, and let's time slip. Great job, everybody. This time, let's practice the question and the answer. I say roast chicken. Rena, you say, can I take your order? Yorie, you say, yes, I'd like the roast chicken, please. Yorie. Yorie. I say green salad. Yorie, you say, can I take your order? Chica, you say, yes, I'd like the green salad, please. Okay? Roast chicken. Okay, and time out there. One more tip here for maximizing student participation. There's nothing tying us as the instructor to a particular order when having students take turns. As the instructor, I decide the best order and use names and clear gestures to make sure that the students know in which order I would like them to take turns. This helps us manage confidence levels and ability levels by, for example, letting the stronger students go first and letting the less confident students see a number of examples before their turn comes around to help build their confidence. Okay, next we do a listening stage and then move into a practice stage. All the time giving the students nice, clear instructions and lots of practice opportunities so that they start to become more and more confident with the language. And by the second half of the practice stage, we can really start moving away from the textbook to building more independence with the language and preparing the students for the final stage of the lesson. For example, in the last stage of the practice section for this lesson, after we've done lots of practice with the pictures in the textbook, I will revisit the menu from the icebreaker and have the students brainstorm some more ideas or some ideas for some additional items for responding to the question, anything else? So, for example, side dishes or drinks. Then we would do some more Q&A practice using the items that the students have brainstormed. The lesson culminates with the production stage, where the students get to put together everything they have learned in a student-centered role play or discussion-based task that they complete with a partner or in a group of 3. Now, you may be thinking that 5 is a little bit of an awkward number for pair work and role plays that have just two roles naturally built into them. Well, with a group of 5, it's just a simple adaptation to most role plays to create a third role for a group of 3. and allow everybody to be involved at the same time. For example, okay, Rina and Yorie, please work together. Chika, Odai, and Wataru, please work together. Okay, we are in imagine we are in a restaurant. This is the menu. Rina and Chika, you are wait staff. Yorie, Odai, Wataru, you are customers. Please decide what you want to order. Rina and Chika, please take their orders. Okay? Where are we? That's right. We're in a restaurant. Rina and Chika, what's your job? That's right, you work in the restaurant. And Yorie, Odai, Wataru, what are you going to do? That's right, you're going to order from the menu. Okay, and let me time out again there. Then, as the students begin their role plays, we sit back, remove ourselves from the action in order to maximize participation and give the students autonomy during the role play. While they are role playing, we listen and take notes in order to give feedback on student performance at the end of the role play. If we have done our jobs well in the earlier stages of the lesson, this is where participation is really maximized. The students are confident, clear, and motivated to speak and be involved. We've made the transition from me being in full control of the lesson to the students being in full control of the lesson. And it's all about what they want to say rather than what I want them to say. The things that make students reluctant or hesitant to speak are things such as being shy, uncomfortable, unprepared, underconfident, unclear. But hopefully you have seen from this brief introduction to the idea of maximizing student participation that there are many ways in which this reluctance and hesitation can be overcome. By being supportive, creating a positive, equal learning environment, helping students feel well prepared through clear instructions, clear practice activities, and building their confidence in this supportive learning environment up to the point where they can successfully contribute in the role play and achieve the lesson's goals. Okay, to check though that you have been listening, I'd like to end this short presentation with a brief true-false quiz. I'm going to make a statement and I would like you to indicate in the comments whether you think this statement is true or false. Okay? Number one, the classroom should be instructor-centered. That's right. This statement is false. The classroom should be student-centered. Having control and passing that control to the students throughout the course of the lesson is achieved without the instructor being the center of the lesson. The students should always be the center of the lesson in order to maximize participation and learning. Okay, number two. Correction should be given immediately to each individual student. I haven't talked so much about the role of correction and its impact on participation, but this is false. As I said at the beginning, one of the important messages I want to send to my students when I set my classroom tone and atmosphere is mistakes are okay. My students will not feel this if I jump in on every mistake. Also, interruptions for correction impact on the development of fluency and the natural flow of communication. Mistakes do need to be addressed, but correction should always be handled sensitively without putting students on the spot in front of their peers, and only immediately in situations where immediate correction is appropriate. Where delayed feedback is more appropriate, feedback should be delayed until the end of an interaction. Okay, number 3. Telling students to participate is the most effective method for maximizing student participation. Yes, that's right. This is false. Telling students that participation is beneficial for their language development and improvement is often not enough to motivate them to participate. Our actions ensure participation. The actions that we take that include creating a relaxed, comfortable, non-judgmental learning environment, using names and gestures, using pair work, eliciting and using student ideas so they feel more connected to the lesson, delaying correction, using lots of praise, and basically creating the opportunities and developing the confidence for them to be able to say what they want to say. Okay, number 4, last one. Role plays make it difficult for students to interact. Yes, that's correct. This is false. Role plays set the scene for real life interaction. Role assignment and role objectives clarify the expectations for that interaction. Roles give students the option of being the person in the textbook, being themselves, or being someone else entirely. I find role plays are just so useful, and those different options available to students really allow them to choose the one they're most comfortable with. Some are happier being somebody that's just in their textbook and replicating what's already in the textbook. Others feel comfortable speaking as themselves, and others prefer the cloak of the disguise of being able to be someone different in a role play. Okay, well done, everybody. Full marks all around. So to bring this to a conclusion, for many of our students, their English lesson is one of the few times in the day, or maybe the only time in the day when they have a chance to use their spoken English. If they do not participate in these lessons, they're going to lose confidence as time goes by instead of gaining it. And that is the last thing we want to happen. So it is, of course, then very important that we are conscious of the significance of maximizing participation and that we're effective in achieving this. And that is all from me. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I do hope that you found this useful. And I very much hope to see you here in Japan soon. Thank you very much.